morning, ladies and gentlemen. Nice to meet you here. Today, I'd like to talk about the wetland ecosystem and maybe focus on the wetland ecosystem monitoring protocol. So, I think you already know that the culture, our culture is long-term ecological research, or long-term ecological monitoring and research. So what's the meaning of the long-term? Professor Kim, I remember, I do not know when, but I do not know where and when. At least 10 years is a long-term. If the monitoring is only 1 year, 2 years, or 3 years, it does not mean long-term. So, as to us, that long-term monitoring and research is our essence, is our philosophy that we need to do that. So that means, as to one side, the longer the better. What is the longest monitoring and research globally? Somebody know? Where and how long? Nobody knows. Actually, that is in UK. In UK, Rosa corpse experiment. So that how long? It started in 1844, 43 or 44. How long?
60 or 70 years.
160. Oh, right? Yeah, more than 100 and almost 80 years. So it is longest. As to Chinese chemical science, as to us, what is the long-term science? I think Professor Kim probably visits that is in Xiubo, in Ningxia region. Our monitoring started in 1956. So it is already around more than 60. So, but today what I like to talk is not only about the long term of the monitoring. That's important, of course. But there's still another culture, another philosophy for us that we need to do some regional or global research. So that means we need to work together, not only my own site, but some similar site in different countries, in different places. How can we do that? Scientists have their own idea what to be monitored and how they would be monitored, and what kind of the equipment they may use. So they're totally different. So the data could not be compared if there's no problem. So that is why I'm talking about the monitoring protocol. We need to set some standard to identify what we monitor what. When, where, how, and how we manage the data. So that is very important. So this kind of data could be compared with different site, different country, for example. So that is very important. So you can use the data for sure. So you do not need to worry about what are the methods, what are equipment they use. So today, what I would like to say is that we did the protocol for different ecosystems. For the cropland, the forest, wetland, desert, grassland, urban. And also we work on different ecosystem components like the hydraulic, soil, biological, and also the atmosphere. So we have different set of this protocol. Today I only share with you that the wetland ecosystem monitoring protocol. I took the lead. So to get agreement between scientists or different sites on what to be monitored, on how and when, it is not easy. So it took almost 4 years for us to develop this protocol. We studied different ecosystems, like the floodland that is. So there's no better.
Okay, so you can point your point at this. Yeah, this one.
Okay. Here. Okay. So there's some we studied we organized a training workshop in different wetland type. So we asked the scientists to choose a wetland, and we studied that. We talk about the flatland wetland, mainly with lakes, the coastal wetland, the Yellow River Delta, and also some marsh, the freshwater marsh, and also some other different types. So from the very beginning, the scientists said that there's no way for us to develop a protocol with different wetland ecosystems because they are too diverse. For example, the coastal wetland, they are silt marsh, and the mangrove forest, so they are totally different. But after 4 years of this discussion, we got this protocol that almost everybody happy with some condition, but they are happy, but not yet so happy. So this is our protocol. It follows our national standard for this kind of the protocol, including what they talk about, what is document, what is the task, and how the indicator system, how to set up the observation site, and what kind of the methods and technique used for this model. So what's that? Sorry. So the purpose of this lecture is to present the general status of the International Wetland Ecosystem Monitoring Stations and site, and focus on explanation of the key point of the protocol for wetland ecosystem observation, especially for long-term observation indicator system, and also some special observation indicator system. So I will talk about this for so talking about the wetland monitoring and how the wetland are monitored, and what would be the important for the long-term monitoring, and what would be the monitor for special tasks. So that is wetland definition given by the Convention on Wetland. The Convention of Wetland is a convention on the wetlands of international importance, especially for waterways or for waterfall habitats. So I want to know who are working on the wetland. That's a new puzzle. 1, 2, 3, only 4. Oh. So, 5. Okay, good. That makes to me 6. So that is very high percentage actually of the ecosystem. So what is wetland? The wetland means should there is water. If no water, no wetland. But according to the definition, it means if there's water, it is a wetland. So I do not want to go too details about this definition. So what it means that like marsh, fen, peatland are water. So they could be fresh water or brackish water, sample water. So it could be either artificial or natural. When I visit Australia in Queensland, that just gives me a very important idea that what mean of the wetland in Australian community. They said if this site is flooded once in 10 years, it is regarded as wetland. It is true or not? We have Australian colleagues. So that means they're permanent or temporary. So that means if when one piece of land is flooded once in 10 years, it could be regarded as wetland. But as for China, if we follow this kind of definition, the wetland area will be pretty shocking. So I like the definition of Professor Michi. He's a professor in U.S. Ohio State University. He wrote a book of wetland. It is very good book. What he said that there should be 3 components for the wetland. The first, there should water. If no water, no wetland. Second is the soil. Usually, the wetland soil very green or more organic matters. So they look green or look dark. So that is quite different with the cropland or forest. So that is the soil. And the third is you may say the fauna and flora or the life. It means that there could be some living plants or animal that they could adopt to the water environment. What it means? Like the dolphin, they can live in the water. Like the fish, they can live in the water environment, or shellfish, or waterworms. The waterworms, they prefer to stay on in the lake or in the water or near the water, or some plants, like some aquatic plants, they can live with the water. So the third is very important. That is a living organic or support organic aquatic organisms. So that is 3 very important components. If you find that one place there's water, the soil, there are some aquatic organisms there you could regard as wetland. So that is more scientifically acceptable. So as I already said, that the wetland is quite different, very diverse. So there are some coastal wetlands. When you go to the beach, so like in Jeju Island, you go to the beach. So that is coastal wetland. And there's some place that they are very beautiful beach, sand beach, and sometimes very muddy. That is tidal flat, very muddy. And some may the coastal beach and the sand dunes. They are all delta area. They are all the coastal wetland. There are also some riverine wetland. So yesterday when we traveled along, I cannot pronounce the very name for yesterday. That is Dongmen. Actually, it's a Chinese Dongmen. The Dongmen market. So there is a river flow to the ocean. So that is a river wetland. And there are also some lake or floodplain wetland. So there are also the marsh, the freshwater marsh or salt marsh. So they are quite different. Yesterday, actually, Vietnam talking about the Saros Creek, and they are mainly. I find that they are mainly in the freshwater marsh. Right? So there are also some man-made wetland, like the polder, the reservoirs. But within China, we do not regard the paddy field as wetland. But internationally, some countries regard as a wetland, some are not. But within China, they are not. So they are quite diverse of these wetlands. So we need to develop protocol to monitor all these kind of different kind of wetlands. So as to the monitor, we need to answer very important question about what to be monitored. So there's according to the Ramsar Convention, so very important is the ecological characters of the wetland are the main what we need to monitor. So the ecological characters of the wetland actually is a fundamental concept of the convention on wetland. So that is very interesting. So what is said that the ecological characters of the wetland is a combination of ecosystem components, process, and benefit or service that make the wetland unique at a special time and space. So here you see that the ecosystem component. So ecosystem component include the physical, chemical, biological elements, such as the soil, water, plants, animal nutrients, and their interactions. So that is what we need to monitor. So it is very easy for you to remember that the ecological character actually equal to the ecological component plus process plus ecosystem service. The topic of our this international ecology school is called related to the service, ecosystem service. So what mean the component? I just now we said that They include the soil, plant, animal, landscape pattern, and also the habitat type. What are the ecological process? The ecological process actually includes the phenology, migration, reproduction, diffusion, computation, carbon cycle, nutrient cycle, and the primary productivity. So they are all processes. And what are the ecosystem service? I think you already set up this concept. It includes provisioning service, regulating service, supporting service, and culture service. As the provisioning service, like the food, like fresh water, like the vegetable yesterday we eat. So the and also the like some seafood, they are all provisioning service of the wetland. Regulation service includes the flood control, the water retention or drought control, and the sporting service includes some biodiversity habitat, and the culture service they include some spiritual and aesthetic value. So that is what we need to monitor. So there are too many need to be monitored, but we need to select the most important one. So from the previous discussion, you already know that wetland ecosystem is quite different from the agriculture or cropland ecosystem, quite different from the forest ecosystem, and quite different from grassland, because there's water, there's different soil, there's the life, the living organism or aquatic organism that could dock into the water environment. So the hydrological condition or process actually is most important to driving the wetland ecosystem change. So what we need to monitor would be the most important process is water or hydrological process we need to monitor. So it's driving all this ecosystem. And you will see that here you may find almost similar aquatic plants in different climate zone, from very north to the south. They could be the aquatic plant. Actually, that's it. Not like the forest. If you look at the forest in the Siberia area, in Mongolia, in China, in the Philippines, in Vietnam, the forest is quite different. But as to some aquatic plant, they almost the same. So that is very interesting. And the wetland spawn the water birds. So the habitat, they are not connected, not naturally connected in the space. So like the Siberian crane, or they are breeding in the Siberia, in Russia, but they can fly to the China. The habitat of the crane, they actually connected in the space, but not like other ecosystems. They close together, but here that is like a network connection. So that is quite different. So I think it is important for us to understand the ecosystem if they are different. So that is wetland ecosystem globally. So left is terrestrial, the right is wetland, mainly wetland. So that is global scale, that is LTR. So that is distribution wetland site globally. So there are not too many. We need more. So actually, I do not really want to talking about two details about how we monitor. I can share with you with this presentation. We have very clear what indicator we do that. So we regard two sets for the monitoring. One is a long term. That is biological element, I see, water element, soil, and climate. So that is what we need mainly focus on the ecosystem component. And we develop the special observation for the different needs, for the national needs. That is wetland carbon sink or carbon sequestration, the biodiversity maintenance, or hydraulical regulation and storage, and water purification. So we develop this kind of the task. So that is how the layout within one site, and what kind of the facility need to be included, and what kind of information need to be collected, like background information, and that is biology, the plants, the animal, how often we need to monitor, and what kind of method we need to monitor, and also the water and the water, how we do it, the indicator of the monitor, and the environment, and the soil, what need to do, the physical property or the chemical property, what kind of measures, and also some atmospherical environment. So that is mainly some online monitoring equipment. So as to the special function, we like the carbon sink function. So what we need to monitor, and like the water birds, how often we need to count, and what kind of the method we need to do, and habitat quality assessment, biological regulation assessment, and water purification methods. So this lecture introduced the general status of the wetland ecosystem monitoring system and focus on the key aspect of the wetland monitoring system, especially for the long-term monitoring indicator and the spatial monitoring indicator. But I mainly more focus on how we understand the wetland. So thank you.